Hey guys, what's going on? Today we're going to date our video back several years and talk about hypothyroidism. If you've been following me for a while, you know I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism several years ago. Since then, I have continued to share my journey, ways in which I've tried to treat, and try and fix my thyroid over the years, and I have made a lot of errors. Today, I want to just have a sit down conversation with you guys and discuss some of the mistakes I made, especially in the beginning of my hypothyroid journey, in hopes to help some or maybe even all of you guys out. Before I get started, please know that I am a personal trainer. I am not a clinician. I'm not a doctor. I have no medical background professionally or academically. This is just something that I obviously, wanted to understand, heal, and fix over the years. And since being diagnosed, I have ultimately reached really healthy levels with my thyroid, my iron, and I am very happy. But from now on, I will always be watchful and weary of my lifestyle choices, my training, as well as my diet-based decisions. One of the biggest mistakes I made in the beginning was I ignored a lot of the symptoms of a hypothyroid body. Now, that being said, I also feel like there isn't really a lot of information and education out there for people who might be susceptible to hypothyroidism, such as myself, because it is a genetic issue for me. But, a lot of the things that were happening, I later learned through studies and like reading and self-education, they are actually side effects or byproducts of having hypothyroidism. One of the big things that stands out for me was I was constantly extremely exhausted. Like, I have been working as a personal trainer. I've been training almost every single day. I've had a very, very active lifestyle. But like 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I would come home from work, or I would just be taking a break, and I would feel exhausted. Like I'd feel like I was hit by a truck or something. It wasn't that I was sleepy. I was just drained. And I didn't know how to explain this to anyone because this is prior to my diagnosis. I just thought maybe I've just moved back from Australia. I'm used to seeing a lot of sun. Maybe it's like the lack of sunlight and everything. I didn't really think of it in a larger context. I also started to notice that my mood was gradually getting lower and lower. I would probably say I felt like I was depressed, but I didn't really understand why. And there is so much research that actually shows how hypothyroidism is linked to depression and vice versa. And so, having had these indicators that something was going wrong in my body, I didn't really register it to my thyroid specifically. Again, it was also lack of education and awareness of these symptoms, but I just sort of like deflected these onto other things, and I allowed it to influence other parts of my life, such as my relationships with my family, my friends, my partner, even my clients, as well as myself. We normally associate hypothyroidism with just getting fat, right? We gain weight, our belly gets bigger, our face gets bigger. So because I wasn't really noticing those changes immediately, it was more of these emotional and physiological changes internally. I didn't think of it. So my best advice that I would give you is that if you find that your body is beginning to act unlike itself, like you're not recognizing your own day-to-day functions or lack of energy, you're feeling demotivated, loss of hair, on top of the weight gain, or maybe not even the weight gain yet, go talk to your doctor and get blood work done. Get a blood panel done, check your thyroid hormones, check everything else you need to check out so that you can take appropriate steps to heal, to recover, make adjustments where you need to make them so you can actually be healthier and happier again, right? It wasn't until I actually gained about 40 pounds that I was like, I need to go talk to a doctor. Originally, I had been making a transition from powerlifting into strongman training. So I thought all the changes that were happening in my body were like, I was getting stronger. I'm like, there's no way I'm getting fat. I'm just getting like stronger because I'm lifting heavier. But when I went to the doctor and I got my blood work done, I was hypothyroid, and then I knew what was going on. Now, being the goofball that I am, I also refuse to take hormones to kind of like, treat this issue. Because I remember when I spoke to the doctor, I was like, okay, so is me taking this hormone going to solve this problem? And I remember her using the word maintenance, that it's going to help us maintain your body. It's not necessarily going to resolve it. So being the person that I am, I took it upon myself to say, no, I refuse this prescription. I want to fix this. I do not want to live like this forever. I do not want to take thyroxine for the rest of my life. I'm going to fix this. The worst thing that I did was I started reaching out to friends, family, people I know who had gone through thyroid problems, not even really asking them what exactly they had. But I asked them like what they did to feel better. And people would be like, oh, I did this and I lost all the weight. I did this and I feel perfectly fine now. And so with no credibility to anything they were saying, to no science to back up anything that I was hearing, I started following everybody's advice verbatim. I literally transitioned my entire diet to a vegan, gluten-free diet for almost a year and 9 months, okay? I did so much damage to my body because of that. Not only did I have thyroid issues, but I had also created additional deficiencies in my body and started noticing other shifts in a negative way in my body, from my hair fall, my mood, my skin, everything. And I was doing all this random stuff to fix everything, but it was all chaos. Do not take advice from anyone and everyone. If you have your diagnosis, you have hypothyroidism, even the content that I'm putting out for you, take it, but question it. Even the credible sources you are reading, understand that older science is being debunked constantly. I would read journal articles again, like 3 years later, and they would say, okay, now we have found a new science, we have found new theories to state that you should do this and you shouldn't do this. So any information that you're absorbing, especially through social media, the internet, question everything. Try and understand your body. Pay attention to what you're doing. Talk to your doctor. If you want to indulge in educating yourself by reading academic journals, textbooks, that's something that I really got into, and it was really empowering for me to be able to educate myself. I started with basic physiology textbooks, anatomy. I went into endocrinology textbooks. I started reading journal articles. I subscribed to PubMD. I started reading psychology textbooks. I really wanted to understand not only the changes that were happening anatomically, but physiologically, psychologically, and try and sort of really care for my body in trying to heal it. Again, I made a lot of mistakes. It took me a solid 4.5 years before I felt like myself again. Every day it was like, I don't feel like myself. I don't feel like myself. I just felt lost, confused, but I just wanted resolution. So don't trust everything. Don't trust everyone. Question things. Find legitimate sources. Trust credible sources. And then use that knowledge and apply it carefully, okay? Because every body is very different. Lastly, this one is going to be a bit of a long one, but it's very personal. So when I went through my hypothyroid process before my diagnosis, I knew I had gained weight and I had gotten bigger, but I was going on lives, like I was going on Instagram Live, I was going on YouTube, and people were calling me fat. People were asking me if I was pregnant. I was sitting online for hours, deleting comments, getting angry. I stopped going on live. I actually deleted my Instagram account. I stopped making content for a while, or I would like sit in front of the camera in a way that like I didn't look fat or chunky. I really started to punish myself even more than what was already going on in my body, right? There were already so many anatomical, physiological, psychological changes that were happening within me that I really shouldn't have put more on myself by punishing myself for the way I looked. You know, once I started gaining the weight, my face has always been round. I've always had a baby face. I can't change it, right? But it got rounder, it got babyer, my cheeks got, plumpier or whatever. And I really hated the way I looked. I was going to the gym, where other female trainers were walking around in their sports bras. I was buying baggier and baggier clothes. I just really, really started to hate myself. And I think when your body is going through something, it's suffering from an illness, it's an indication that something is wrong. And it's not a reason for us to punish ourselves in that process. It's really a time for us to be more introspective and try and understand our bodies, right? Now, with the endocrine system, it can affect our ovaries as women, right? It can affect so many of our hormone levels. That can affect our weight, our mood, our psychological health. And so by becoming more aware and by understanding more of what was going on, I sort of began to step away from that self-punishment, but began to really respect my body. And it was like, okay, what do I need to do? What can I do? If my body is tired, I will just rest more. I will change the way I work out because exercise is fundamental to thyroid health, but maybe I dial back the intensity. So I step back from strongman. I started to incorporate more healthy foods into my diet. I stopped being so strict with what I was doing. Like I was vegan, gluten-free, alcohol-free for like 3 years. I did so much damage to my body. I really wish that I had indulged in trying to educate myself first before making all these, haptic changes out of panic because I just wanted to be skinny again. And in this process over the last 4 or 5 years, I have really grown to love and respect my body. And one thing I can advise to anyone who's watching this video is instead of looking in the mirror and feeling frustrated at what you see, being unhappy with, the clothes that don't fit, put those fucking clothes away. Just put them away for a while. Go out and buy a couple of clothes that make you feel good about the body that you are currently in. And that's what I started to do. I started to just buy clothes that were more flattering on the body that I had for those few years. And I didn't think of it like, oh, this is temporary. After a while, I can wear this again and this again. I didn't think of it like that at all. I was like, this is the body that I currently have. What can I do to make myself feel better? What can I do to feel badass, to feel beautiful, to feel empowered? And it was tough. Like, even when I think about it now, I don't know why it makes me so emotional. Okay. Yeah. But, for women, like, it's so tough because no matter what you do, you're being judged. You can do everything right and it's still wrong. And you can make one mistake somewhere, post one photo that, highlights the wrong thing or highlights, one extra curve or whatever, and people will go nuts. And so women are being kind of like conditioned and molded constantly by society and their standards. And the best thing you can try and do is just disconnect and clear that away from you and just sort of come into your own, find your own person because you deserve love. You deserve to feel beautiful. You deserve empathy, right? You deserve to feel fucking empowered, and you are badass in who you are and what you are, right? You are not just a physical person, and your entire personality is not based on who you look like or the way you, whatever, like all that crap. You are who you choose to be, and embody that person in the way you treat yourself. I wish I was kinder to myself, but it was really, really tough for me, and I felt very isolated in that process. And of course, being on the internet and being on social media is really, really tough too. So I truly know and understand this is easier said than done. There are so many changes happening in your body. Be respectful to those changes and just focus on what you can do today to treat yourself better, to treat yourself healthier, to be more badass, to be stronger. Just focus on one day at a time. And before you know it, it will be years later and you'll be like, wow, I can't believe that happened, because you just were fixating on day-to-day tasks. Focus on work, surround yourself with people who don't treat you like shit, who don't judge you. I had a client come into me one day and say something like, oh, my tire's really deflated, but you look like you have a lot of air. I had people tell me I looked pregnant on the internet, but just disassociate with all that crap. Focus on people, things, activities, clothing, surroundings that make you feel good, make you feel beautiful, make you feel positive about who you are and what you're going through, because ultimately we're all going through something. You know what I mean? That's it. The thing that we're going through with thyroid is just a few extra pounds. At least we are still good fucking people, right? Right? Okay, anyways. But if you are feeling alone, you don't have anyone to turn to, please know you can message me. You can message me here. You can message me on Instagram. You can email me, whatever you want. I'm always here for you. If you have any other questions, leave them down below. Get in touch with me. Just know I'm always here for you. I really do understand what you're going through, and we'll talk again very soon. And if there's any new updated content you want me to make around this journey that's been happening over the last several years, let me know, okay? Until next time, think strong always, okay? You got this. You're amazing. You're beautiful. You're and you deserve everything you want in the world and more. Bye.
And Sydney says bye.